your family. Attorney Paul S. Labiner designs estate plans that ensure the most effective transfer of wealth, implement policies to mitigate income and estate taxes, and draft wills and trusts to maximize your family's wealth. Call Attorney Paul S. Labiner today at 561-998-2362. You are listening to the Ask the Expert Show with host Steve-O. We will be right back with more experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Join us every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Now, get ready for more Ask the Experts.
Here we go. Hey, we are back with our second half of Ask the Experts. We had a topic that you have been asking us about, and we were lucky to get, in my mind, one of the best attorneys when it comes to estate planning. Let me introduce you to Paul Labiner, Esquire. He is our expert in, and there's so many different areas with estate planning. So the people who asked us to talk about elder law, we're going to do that. About probate, we're going to do that. And hopefully you're going to learn some things that, I tell you what, we were just talking that my Renee her father just passed away, and you do not want to go to probate. And so we're going to talk about all those things today. And first, let me introduce you to Paul Labiner, Attorney Paul Labiner, and tell people, first of all, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Steve. It's nice to see you today.
It's a horrible day out, isn't it?
It's a little warm.
So tell people about your firm.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're driving safely. My firm is really a boutique estate and asset protection, financial planning, and wealth management firm. And we talked a little bit about this last month in terms of, what do I do? And in many respects, I think estate planning is a misnomer.
Tell me why.
Because, I think people think of estate planning as dying.
Yeah, I can see, yes.
Okay, I think they equate estate planning with dying, and who wants to talk about dying? Who wants to talk about their mortality? Who wants to talk about their morbidity? It's not a pleasant conversation, and I understand that. And I'm totally cognizant of this. I'm doing this almost 40 years, and trust me when I tell you I am sensitized to the fact that this engagement is not the most pleasant of a conversation. However, it's changed.
Well, we want to talk about before you get to death.
Well, of course. And we want to talk about preserving and protecting.
Because if you wait till you get to death, you're in trouble.
Well, that's true. But you want to preserve the monies that you have.
Right.
Okay? We live in a litigious society today. We live in a society where there is a multitude of family issues and concerns. Whether it's the poor financial management of a child, whether it's divorce of a child, whether it's a lawsuit, whether it's malpractice, any number of different scenarios.
You see some of the craziest things, because it's amazing when it comes to money, what it does to people, what it does to family members.
Steve, you hit the nail on the head. What is this all about? Money.
Yeah. And people change when it comes to money.
No question. And as we both can appreciate.
You see it.
I do. Money has some very positive attributes. It's not to say that money is a bad thing. But money has and rears its ugly head, particularly at the time of the demise of an individual.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't. I mean, there's an orderly and efficient way of doing things.
This is what you do.
And this is exactly what I do, is I map out a financial blueprint to make sure that those problems don't happen.
Wow. So I guess, you know what? I want to tell people, because I got 2 emails on this, and they're both basically the same. It was about having autistic kids.
Okay.
And when they turn 18, and the state comes in, and all of a sudden they're not really your kids anymore. They're the state kids. So guarantor is also some of the things that you talk about, and people don't understand what to do.
Well, it's a big problem.
And there's a process.
There is a process, and it's called the guardianship.
Yes.
And there is a total process that needs to take place, particularly when you have special needs. And autism,
before they turn 18, I'm telling you.
Well before they turn 18. And autism, I have a very dear friend of mine. He's my best friend. I've known him since college, whose grandchild is severely autistic.
1 out of 70 kids born become autistic. 1 out of 70.
And the the spectrum of autism is quite broad.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so when you say autism, people's hairs, they light up.
Right.
Okay, but there's various levels.
Like our daughter, you could not tell by looking at her, but she's autistic. Though.
She's autistic. Okay, so we have special circumstances regarding that child. We have special situations that we need to be cognizant of, not only when they turn of age majority at age 18, but setting up special vehicles and setting up trust accounts to make sure that their best interests are always being taken
Don't
care
try
of.
to do. I got to tell you something. Don't try to do this yourself. You will lose all your hair like me. You've got to get an attorney like Paul to take care of this for you, because she was in a high school that her whole class were autistic, and parents didn't know what to do.
Well, not only that, let me tell you about another thing, and that is that many of these children, particularly the ones that are on the higher end of the spectrum, typically can get various financial help from the state of Florida or whatever state they reside.
How would they know that?
Okay, and
On their own.
there's many financial opportunities, and much of what I do is to counsel and advise clients how to best maximize their assets to make sure that they receive the entitlements that they're entitled to, and not only that, make sure that they're not evaporated or eliminated due to poor financial management or inappropriate planning in the future. So
I cannot tell you, what Paul's telling you now, and don't wait till they're 17 years old.
No.
I want you to call Paul, because I'm going to tell you, we've been through this before. It is a nightmare dealing with the state and things that we didn't even know could be done. You need to give them a call tomorrow. Don't wait till they're 17 or 18 years old, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done that someone like yourself knows what to do. Give people your phone number.
Sure, I'd be glad to, Steve. My telephone number here in Boca Raton is 561-998-2362. Again, that's 561-998-2362.
And now, do you go outside of Palm Beach at all? Like, do you go to Dade?
Absolutely. My client
Broward.
base is from Dade all the way up to Jupiter.
Okay, and we have a big audience in Jupiter. So I'm going to start off with probate.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be a real education for you, because if you don't understand what the state can do, or others within the family, if you don't protect yourself early, it can linger on for years.
Absolutely.
So they need to talk to you so that it doesn't get to probate.
Well, there are so many different ways to avoid probate.
That's what's so sad, because
and people just don't understand, what the probate process is all about, number one. And for the most part, most people want to avoid the probate process because it's timely, it can be expensive, and more often than not, they want to get the attorney out of the equation.
Okay.
And invariably, if you're going through probate, you will need an attorney.
So tell everybody, there's a lot of people out there who do not understand probate because they've never been through it before.
Probate is nothing more than going through the legal process of proving the intentions of an individual and following the protocol of their last will and testament and their wishes to make sure that their assets are properly divided to their loved ones. Number two, make sure that any creditors or any outstanding liabilities are addressed. And in that respect, probate is actually a positive. Okay?
Okay, so if you don't have a will, you're really setting yourself up to possibly go into probate.
No, if you don't have a will, you have two problems. Number one is you're guaranteed to go through probate. Okay? That's a guarantee. And number two, the distribution of your assets may not necessarily conform with what your wishes are. Because the state of Florida actually has a will that's designed for you, depending upon whether you're married.
Whose favor does that go in?
Depending upon whether you have children and so on and so forth. And that's where the laws of intestacy comes into play. And now I don't want to, confuse the listeners. But
why would someone not want to do a will? I mean, what was it, Prince that didn't have a will?
I have no idea.
How do you not have some kind of will? Do people think, well, I don't have a lot of assets, I don't need a will?
I think that's a common misconception. is that, well, I don't need a will. I don't have enough assets to warrant it. Or I'm going to just title everything in the name of myself and my child, and everything is going to go to them at the time of my death. And that is partially accurate because you can actually do that as a probate avoidance technique. But invariably, there are more assets that are not properly titled that will necessitate an individual to go through probate. And there are simple solutions to it, Steve. There are really simple solutions to avoid probate and to have an opportunity to ensure and guarantee that the flow of your dollars that you worked a lifetime to accumulate, whether it's $10,000 or $10 million, goes to the person that you want it to go to without any fuss, without any muss, without any additional expenses, without any additional delays. And that could all be done with just some simple planning.
So, in a will, are you saying that sometimes the way a will is written, that they don't understand the intent of the person?
No, the will outlines exactly who the individual will get the funds.
Okay.
But if you don't have a will, then you'll go.
You're
through,
setting yourself.
You're going through probate, and and the state of Florida now has their protocol in terms of how those monies are going to get distributed.
So, if someone says to you, Paul, do I need a will? Are there questions that you ask them, or you just say you need a will?
Well, you need a will, but if you want to avoid probate, the preferred drafting document is what we call a revocable trust or a living trust.
Ah, okay.
Okay. And that is a mechanism that acts in many respects like a will would, except since it's titled, all of the assets are titled in the name of that trust, the John Smith Revocable Trust, for example, then those assets will avoid probate completely.
Wow. So
Can I give you an example?
Everybody do that then?
Let me give you an example. Most people who are married own their home titled as husband and wife. It's commonly referred to as tenants by the entirety.
Okay.
Okay, so spouse number one dies, it goes automatically to spouse number two. No problem, no probate, everything is efficient. Well, what happens upon the death of spouse number two? Okay, spouse number two, because now the assets are in his or her name, now have to go through a probate process. If they can simply title that piece of property in the name of their John Smith or Mary Smith Revocable Trust, all bets are
They've
off.
eliminated all the problems about probate then.
Exactly.
So why doesn't everybody do that?
Because
It's not even that expensive.
it's not that expensive.
It's not.
I think there's more of a psychological component than anything else. People don't like discussing death. People don't like going to attorneys. People don't like paying for attorneys. Come to my office. I'm a nice guy. Okay?
You are a nice guy.
I'll
and
offer
you
you-
explain things so easy you can understand.
I'll offer you a cup of coffee. You can play with my dogs that are in my office. And, if I can help you, I'd be glad to help you. And if I can't help you, I'd also am as transparent and as honest as I can be and tell you exactly what should be done, what the cost, what the expenses are. And if they comply and conform with your needs and circumstances, I'll be glad to assist you.
You know what's so great about Paul? First of all, there's a lot of people who are old school. They're going to say, you know what, he's going to be talking way over my head. You really don't. You really just put it out there, and you make it so easy to understand, which is, I'm sure, this is how you speak to your clients.
This is exactly how I speak to my clients, and I tell them openly and honestly exactly what they should do, or suggest what they should do, why this is the better course of action, and I'll certainly have no problem discussing fees and expenses, with a prospective client. I think people think it's much more onerous, much more expensive.
Yes, I could see that. Thinking that it's a lot more expensive.
And as a result, they do nothing. And that's the worst thing that you can possibly do. Do nothing.
Listen, we're going to go to break, but I'm telling you, because we are going through probate now, and if it had been set up the right way, we wouldn't be going through any of this now. And I'm going to tell you something. With probate, by the time you maybe do see some money, most of it's gone. I'm telling you. So we're going to go to break. Paul, give everybody your phone number and your website address.
Sure, I'd be glad to. Again, my phone number is 561 area code 998-2362. And my web address is Boca Raton Estate Planning probate.com.
Okay, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about probate, and we're going to get into some other areas of estate planning. We'll be right back.
The law office of Paul S. Labiner has been providing quality and cost-effective legal advice to professionals, businesses, individuals, and families throughout South Florida, New York, and New Jersey for over 3 decades. Their mission is to provide personalized service which ensures that you, your family, your business, or your assets are safe and protected. Call attorney Paul S. Labiner today, 561-998-2362, and let him begin the creation of a financial blueprint in conformity with your needs, desires, and concerns. It took much effort and hard work for you to enjoy all that you have today, so it only makes sense that you implement strategies to protect and defend it. The law office of Paul S. Labiner, PA, is a reputable law office nestled in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida, that is dedicated to providing you with personalized legal services that meet the specific needs of your family. Attorney Paul S. Labiner designs estate plans that ensure the most effective transfer of wealth, implement policies to mitigate income and estate taxes, and draft wills and trusts to maximize your family's wealth. Call attorney Paul S. Labiner today at 561-998-2362.
You're going to hear me get really passionate about this probate. I am telling you, and if someone wants to come in just to talk to you, show you what they've done, do you charge for that?
Not at all, Steve.
Okay, so why don't you call Paul? Because I'm telling you, if things are not set up right, I'm telling you, you are in for a fight. You're probably going to, the money you think you're going to get, you're probably not going to get. And it's so easy to do it now and not wait.
Well, Steve, that's so true. I mean, unfortunately, what I have seen in my almost 40 years of experience is that at the time of the demise of an individual, that's where the greed rears its ugly head. And that's where family members start having some disparity in terms of what they think should be done. I'll give you a perfect example, and it doesn't even have to deal with money. Somebody dies and they have personal effects. It could be jewelry.
Right. That's
okay. It could be an heirloom. It could be a piece of artwork. It could be something that maybe does not have any real significant monetary value, but to a family member or to that family unit has a significant amount of value. Now, there's an easy way of dealing with that. So easy way of dealing with that. To avoid the controversy. I can't tell you how many times clients or prospective clients of mine fight over trinkets.
Oh, I'm sure.
Over trinkets. Now, you and I would look at this trinket and say, well, what's the intrinsic value of that? Not much, but, and I understand, the quantitative value of, these heirlooms that people might have. So there's a clear and people don't give it enough thought. There's a clear and concise way of just simply outlining it on a piece of paper that I'm going to give you that's going to be attached to your document. That's going to avoid all of it. Avoid all of it.
So
what is it going to take? It will take 10 minutes of your time.
So a revocable living trust, if you were doing a seminar on that right now, tell me some of the things you would tell people.
It's a great question, Steve. What I would say a revocable living trust does is it does the following. Probate is probably the most significant aspect of setting up a revocable trust because you avoid the probate. However,
95%,
I would
98,
say
80?
No, I would say 100%.
Okay.
However, there are many people and many attorneys in the South Florida area. You can open up a newspaper and say, well, I can get a revocable trust for X amount of dollars.
Right.
Okay. That's only part of the story. You need to title your assets in conformity with the revocable trust.
So there's more to it.
There is more to it. So in many respects, in all due respect to my fellow attorneys that are advertising, yes, they may be drafting a document what appears to be inexpensively, but what they're not doing is doing the full job, and that is the time, the effort to ensure that the assets are transferred, retitling the house. That means
the other half. The work needs to be done.
Absolutely. The document is just one part of the story.
Wow. See, that I would want to know that.
Okay.
Because you're right. There are a lot of attorneys that promote the living trust for really cheap. And you go, how do they do that for so cheap? Well, I think you're telling us.
Well, they're doing it because it's really not the full story.
They don't finish the job.
They don't finish the job, or when they go into their office and then they're quoting you their fees 3 times more than what is originally outlined in the newspaper because they have to do the deed, they have to do the retitling of the other assets, and so on and so forth. I just don't do things that way. You're going to come into my office, and whatever fee that I'm going to quote you is the fee that I'm going to quote to do the complete job. Not only draft the necessary legal documents in conformity with your wishes, but also assist you in retitling those assets so you will avoid that probate process.
You also offer different insurance vehicles.
I have a separate financial services
And I got
company.
to tell you something, because one of the things we found out with my Renee, her father, who passed away, they don't tell you everything. They don't tell the kids everything that's going on. And he took a policy in order to save money and reduced it so bad because not thinking, hey, what if I'm laid up in the hospital for 6 months? They don't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happens, and all of a sudden, your new policy doesn't cover much.
Well,
You never thought that was going to happen.
Well, what kind of policy was this? Was this
This was for home care.
for nursing home and home care? Yeah.
And I'm telling you, someone putting this, you don't have to pay that much. What you do is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, you want to get in early, do it right away. You don't want to wait, because we never know what's going to happen to us from one day to the next.
Absolutely not.
And it's exactly what it said, planning. And, you don't have to be 65 years old to plan.
No, not at all. I mean, the planning components actually change. I mean, a young family, their biggest concern is their baby child or their young children, and who's going to take care of them if they, God forbid, was
So
that.
you know the questions to ask, and we don't.
That's true. And again, and we
Like,
talked
I
about,
never thought about that. I mean,
you-
who would have thought of that?
we talked last time about, could you get a simple will or a simple trust by going online and doing it yourself? Yeah. I mean, my philosophy is,
How could that be good for everybody?
it's not. If you're going to get your legal degree by doing a Google search, or you're going to get your medical degree, or your architect degree, or any other degree by doing a Google search, I don't advise you to do that. I mean, unfortunately, yes, Google searches and the web is a wonderful source of information, but you got to understand where that information is coming from.
By the way, your son's an attorney.
My son is an attorney. God
What
bless
kind
him.
of law does he practice?
My son does personal injury work.
Does he really?
Yeah.
And what's the name of his firm?
His firm is the Personal Injury and Accident Law Center.
I had to get that in there.
Well, thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. No, but you're a good guy. You can tell you're fighting for people and not for the almighty dollar.
You
don't see that very often anymore.
I try to live my life by doing the next right thing. That's my general philosophy of life. And I have been, thankfully, with that philosophy of life, I have been, thank you, God, for affording me financial security. And
Well, how about patience? Because you get that family in there all together, and you're trying to, whether it's draw up a will or do some planning, and someone says, "No, that's mine." And,
I've been called,
God!
I've been called the financial shrink on more than one occasion.
I mean, that's amazing. It's kind of like almost like family law.
Yeah.
You get into a lot of areas that have nothing to do with law.
But let me get back to your question about, if I was doing a seminar on a revocable trust. So, yes, the probate is certainly, one issue. The privacy is another one, because once you go through probate, that's open to records.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so many people are concerned about the privacy of their assets and the privacy of their distribution plans and the like, because it's a matter of public record once you go through probate.
Right.
So privacy becomes an issue. Having things distributed on a more orderly and efficient distribution and a more timely manner, revocable trust accomplish that as well. And you can accomplish virtually everything that you would want in a will and more by incorporating a revocable trust. The $1,000,000 question, is it a little bit more expensive than doing a will? Yes, it is.
Should be.
Yes, it is, because there's more work involved.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I mean, I can't be more honest. It will cost you more to do a revocable trust than a will, but the benefits far exceed it because you avoid the fuss and the muss that you're going to experience when at the time of death as it relates to probate.
This has got to be the fastest 30 minutes to ever go by. But and Paul's going to be back with us again next month, and I'd like to end the show with why should I hire you? Even though I think you've told everybody, why should I secure your firm to represent me?
I think, in summation, I would say that I'm honest. My fee schedules are fair. And I have a multitude of experience and empathy to families and their needs and circumstances, and are very cognizant of the subjective considerations that come into play.
So basically what he is he's a legal mensch. That's what he is. That's what he is. Listen, I cannot wait until next month, and I might even put you more on, we might do 10 minutes of a seminar in one area, just because you make it so easy. We're going to be back with more Ask the Experts next week from 5 to 6. And remember, starting the last Thursday of this month, 3 to 4 on 740 AM, 103.9 FM, and 96.9 FM. It'll be another Ask the Expert show, just on a different dial, but here at the station. We'll see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Call our office at 888-574-6999 to become one of our experts on the show. And tune in again next week for more Ask the Experts with Steve-O. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests,